Welcome to She Sells Radio. So I just love my guest today for you, and I know you're going to love her as well. And part of why I love her is she's such an advocate for women to live better. She teaches women across the globe to uplevel their mindset and make more money using their voice, which, oh my gosh, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know how passionate I am about that. I've actually got a lot of women in this community who used to sing and then stopped singing and or want to be, speakers or want to share their personal story to help empower other women. And sometimes we can, we can get so caught up in our heads and like make ourselves smaller, question the power of our voice. And so what I love so much about this conversation today is whether you are one of my singers or whether you're one of my speakers or whoever you are, if you are wanting to use your voice to make more money, then this episode is going to be so powerful for you. And she's TV's host of Women Who Lead. She's the author of personal development, wealth consciousness, and poetry books, which I just think is so cool. And she's also a registered mental health counselor. And so please welcome to She Sells Radio, Christy Primmer. Christy, welcome to the show, my friend.
Oh my goodness, Elyse, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to connecting with you today.
Yes, I'm so excited to connect. And I actually wasn't planning on asking you about this, but I think it's interesting to talk about just your background too in mental health. And we were talking about when we first met, it was right before the pandemic, and we met in Miami at an event. It was like the last event that I went to. It was kind of like when things were on the cusp of, are people flying, are they not? And it was, I think, March of 2020. And we met at that event. And then that was my last event of last year, but you shared what happened to you and your family after that. Will you share? Because I think it actually speaks to the importance of mental health and how to be resilient as we go through challenges. Will you share what happened to you after that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great testimony to I practice what I preach. So we met at the event. It was amazing. My family has a home in Winter Haven, Florida. So I actually went from Miami with my husband back to Winter Haven. And a couple of days later, he was flying home back to Canada for business. He was going to be gone for 2 weeks. And the third day he was gone, the world shut down. And I do have one child. So he was at home with my son, which is a blessing. I do count that as a blessing. But I was there all alone. And I mean, everyone was actively isolating. There was a lot of fear going on, a lot of anxiety on the rise. And I personally had to pull the tools from my toolkit and treat myself like a client. And I was able to do that successfully, but there were a lot of moments of, when am I going to see my family again? When am I going to be able to connect with my friends that I do have there in Winter Haven? When's the pool going to open up? That's, water is so healing for me. Like, there are all these things. And honestly, Elyse, it was just such a period of growth for me. And if I didn't have the self-care routines that I have, or the priority of mental health techniques that I implement in my life, I don't know where I would be right now.
Yeah. Because you were separated from them for what, 4.5 months, you said?
Yes.
Which is
Yes.
so wild. And so I'm so excited to just get to know you better and share more of your story, because I think that's such a testament to the resilience that we have to build as women today. And so share with us, if you can, like, what led you to becoming an advocate to help women lead better lives? What was that starting point that made you so passionate about this?
Well, I think, to be very honest and transparent, I got married young, had my son. I was 21, went through a divorce at 23, and I stayed in that relationship longer than I would have because I was not financially independent. I was spiritually broken. I was financially broken. And my son lives with Erb's palsy, which is a very rare physical disability caused at birth. I had all of these pressing factors that was keeping me in a not good situation. And on my knees in prayer, I remember weeping to God, if you get me out of this, if you help me get out of this somehow, I will spend the rest of my life helping women love themselves inside out, becoming healthy, wealthy, just please do something. And, fast forward many years, here I am, and I am definitely living out that promise.
Yeah. And how did you get the courage than to leave that situation. Cause I think, I think back to my own life, and there've been a number of situations where it was like, gosh, this, like, I have to step out, whether it was like, I'm divorced as well. I'm remarried, but divorced in my 20s as well. And I remember that situation feeling so scary to step out of, or even a business partnership where we think, gosh, this is a big
Mhm.
part of my revenue. And what am I going to do on the other side? Like, how do you coach women to take that big, scary action?
Yeah, that's such a good question. The first thing I always think of, I always come from a place of compassion and empathy.
Mm,
And I always think, what was the catalyst for change for me? And I know for me, there was an intervention. So it was actually um, had to happen
mhm,
because of circumstances. And I always ask women, whether it's a relationship, whether it's in their parenting, business building, collaborations, what is the goal? Is the goal to live better and love better and become more successful, wealthier, and expand? Or is the goal to just stay with what is comfortable? Because we
mm,
all know comfortability is never comfortable.
yeah.
It's not. So I like to look at it from a place of compassion and empathy. But if we have desires on our heart, they're there for a reason. And I help women tap into that fierce feminine, because we have to give ourselves permission to leave marriages, to leave
Mm,
business collaborations, to leave corporate jobs, to start our own business, to parent our own way, whatever it is. And it always starts within.
mm. Yeah. And I love that you said fierce feminine. So tell us more about what is the fierce feminine to you? Because I love that. And I find often when I'm on calls with my clients, we talk about like that inner, like some of my clients will talk about the inner she wolf or that inner queen or goddess. And we talk about like bringing out that fierce feminine. So who is she to you?
Yeah, I get asked that all the time, and I love it. Quite frankly, I love it,
Yeah.
because for me, it's when I balance my masculine energy with my feminine and
Mm,
still let my feminine take over. Let myself be a woman in my femininity, and knowing that that is safe. I get to assert myself without being called a you know what. I get
mhm,
to have values that I can change, according to the seasons in my life. I get to stand in my power, knowing that I am beautiful and capable, because I am, not with any other circumstance on me or on my life or on my success. It's that inner knowing. And I always say, nicey nice is over. We cannot get what we want by always being the nice girl, because
mm.
a lot of people will use us and take advantage of us. We can be fierce and we can be kind, and it's just something I love to help women embrace within themselves.
Yeah. What's one thing, and I love that because I was the nice girl for so long. And I think that's still like I know sometimes she shows up like that's my default mode in certain situations. And it's there are some ways in which that can be beneficial. And there are other ways where you step back, you don't speak up, you can become it's like people roll over you. And so what's one tactical thing a woman could do to step out of that nicey nice role and more into that fierce feminine energy?
Yeah, give herself permission. Honestly, we
Mm,
we don't have to be either or. We don't have to be nice or not nice woman. We get to just be a woman, and we get to have
yeah.
our opinions, and we get to have our desires. And it gets to be okay, because we believe that it does, that it's safe for us to be all of us in our good, the bad, the great, the ugly,
Yeah.
and the crazy, I say.
Yeah. Oh
um,
yeah.
and so just allowing it and not resisting it.
Hmm. Well, one of the things that I think I'm picking up on from what you say, which I love, is that no one else is going to give you permission except for you. And so oftentimes we wait for someone else to tell us it's okay to speak up, it's okay to earn more. And it's really, there's no one coming to give you permission. I think you must give yourself the permission. And so that's one thing I'd love to have a conversation with you here about today is wealth when it comes to women, because obviously this show is she sells. So we're all about sales and money. I shouldn't, we're not all about money, but we love having money. We love using money as a tool. We love earning more. And so Tell me about, from your experience working with women and money and helping them build wealth consciousness, what are some of the biggest pitfalls or limiting beliefs you see women having when it comes to earning and multiplying their money?
Yeah, the thing I see the most is they don't have a clear definition of what wealthy even means to them. They're
Mm,
carrying their partners or their parents or their siblings, even their peers at times, mindset and belief system that actually isn't working for them, and they don't really know that that's what they're carrying. So the first thing I always ask people is, what does wealth mean to you? And where did you learn that, or when did you decide that? And a lot of times there's a quick aha in that, because a lot of women will be like, well, I don't know, I just grew up with these customs or with this idea. um that's what it is. And it's great, because once we know what we're dealing with, we can evolve and change it or heal it or release it, whatever needs to happen. But wealthiness, a wealthy woman to me is healthy, financially fit, and secure in who she is. Because let's face it, wealth is not just a monetary um, means to an end. Like,
mm.
we want to be a wealthy woman. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah. I think that's such an interesting way of putting it. And I don't know if I've ever heard it that way before, but I love that too. Cause it's like, if you, I know for me, when I felt like I didn't have money, money was all I thought about. It was like all consuming. And I thought, if I can just get some money, everything will be good. But what I found was that as I focused on becoming more whole in all areas, to your point, health, financial acumen, relationships, feeling more worthy and abundant, the money was a byproduct. So for you, when you think about it, I'd love to talk a little bit more about your perspective on wealth and how a woman can define that for herself, because I think many women don't think about it that way and they take on other people's identities. To your point, they take on their parents' wealth consciousness, they take on, siblings' wealth consciousness. So do you ever find with women, like I find often they say, I want a certain amount of money, but they don't have a clear purpose behind it. And sometimes they actually think they need way more than they do to feel wealthy. And sometimes they're shooting way too low and actually need more. But how else does a woman start to really define wealth for herself and then live into that?
Oh, I love this so much. So I could talk about this all day. I
Go
won't,
for it.
but
I love it.
we start with, firstly, okay, the clarity. I always say clarity is queen. What does wealthy
Mm,
mean to you, right? So if you're listening right now, it's like, what does it mean to you? Take all the judgments and preconceived notions and strip them away from what you're actually thinking, and let your thoughts just come to the surface. Okay, so you know what that means to you. Well, how do you achieve it? Because I know for me, I would set money goals and then I would sometimes crush them, sometimes I wouldn't hit them. And I started identifying with those goals and whether or not I achieved them. And then I realized wealth to me is actually inner peace and security in who I am. And from that comes the abundance of a great marriage, a great relationship with my child, great clients, soulmate clients that love to pay me money in unexpected ways. And then I tapped in even deeper and I thought, well, if this is working for me, let's help other women do this. So you figure out what it means to you. And then it's like, what would you be doing right now if you never worried about money again? If you never worried about being overlooked again, how would you be showing up?
mm.
9 out of 10 times women tell me I'd be showing up a heck of a lot differently. I would just feel better. I'd show up in my marriage better, my friends, my with my clients. And from there, we literally open the floodgates to abundance in so many different areas of our lives.
Wow. Yeah. And it's so your focus is so in alignment with what I preach, live, breathe, which is that inner, starting with the inner, and that will expand into your outer world. That it's not, we can't wait to have money to feel peace. We must feel peace. And then that actually creates money as well. But what are some of the ways? So when you ask women, like, how would you be showing up if money were a thing? What are some of the things you hear them say that would be different?
Well, the first thing that I hear the most is, I don't know how I'd be showing up because I
Mm,
only know the struggle. And I love people, I love when women are honest. I literally do work with the
yeah.
most incredible women. And that's what I hear the most is I just don't know. I've never thought about it because it's never been my normal.
Mm.
And I say, okay, but if you did know, what would you be doing? Well, I would be less anxious. I'd feel more calm. I would feel more confident in myself. I would go live more. I would email more. I would stand in my and use my voice to actually attract my business opportunities or collaborations. And it's literally that inner sense of I belong here. I deserve to be heard. It's safe for me to make money and to keep money, right? And it's also safe for me to live beyond my wildest dreams. And that's the goal, right? I want women everywhere to love themselves wealthy.
Ooh, I love that. Love yourself wealthy. That's so good. That's and so another thing you said there that I really want to focus in on with you is using your voice to attract your ideal clients, to create the opportunities you're looking for, to become wealthy in the true definition of the word. So tell us about that. Why is that something that you are so passionate about? And well, let's start there. Why is that something that you're so passionate about?
Yeah, well, believe it or not, for many years of my life, I just tried to fit in with the crowd. I've always been very connected to God. I have a very strong source connection, and I always felt weird about that. I know that might sound weird that I felt weird, but
Yeah.
I did a lot of things in my younger years just to fit in, to be wanted. I tried to attract all the wrong guys. I just did things that were not aligned with my core being. And I did it at the expense of my own soul, literally. But in growth and in learning, I realized my voice does matter. And I can have a different opinion than somebody else, even somebody that I love and care for. And mine's not right or wrong, and neither is theirs. And if I'm going to do the work that I honestly believe God has called me to do in this world, I have to speak from my heart, even when it's not the popular thing, even when it's not like the trend. Maybe it seems a little cuckoo to someone who might, tap into abundance. Well, what does that mean?
Sure.
But I know that when I'm true to myself, the right people come into my life. I can serve at the level I'm destined to. I can help women. I can help them help their marriages, help their families. It becomes the ripple effect. And so knowing that and speaking from that heart center, I don't have to worry about being criticized. I mean, I'm human. I have feelings. It sometimes hurts, but I know when I'm being true to purpose, I am protected and divinely directed.
Yeah. Wow. I love that part of your story and what you shared, because I know many of the women who listen are very spiritual, and some of them may feel like they have to hide that. They can't talk about that. I know for me, for many years of my life, I felt like that I would be rejected if I shared that part of me, because that's so, coming from corporate background, it's like, we don't talk about that kind of stuff. But my experience has been the same as yours, that when you allow that part of yourself it's like the thing you're most afraid to share about yourself is what will free you. And for you, part of what I love about what you've done is you've used your voice to create a TV show, to write books. And for a woman who's listening, who feels inspired to do something similar, maybe she wants a show, maybe she wants to write a book, where did she get started? I would love to hear that, because it could feel overwhelming. We can have imposter syndrome, like, who am I? Why would my voice matter? How did you get started in that world? Because you've built such a phenomenal personal brand.
Thank you so much. Well, first I'll start with, I do everything in prayer, and I do everything, like I have personal development routines I do every day, Monday through Sunday, no excuses.
Okay, I would want to pause you and ask you what they are, because everyone's going to want to know, like, what exactly are they? So, yeah.
So I start my morning nice and early, around 6 a.m. I get up, I start with a prayer. Thank you for this day. I did a lot of script training from Og Mandino. I don't know if you've heard of him. Amazing. I had a mentor share him with me many years ago. And my favorite thing is to say, I will persist until I succeed.
Yeah.
But then I get into gratitude. I get up, I do a journal session, have a cup of coffee. I will either listen to a podcast or watch some kind of, Abraham Hicks is my favorite, or Bob Proctor.
Yeah.
And then I do a workout. I get into movement, I shower, and I'm ready for the day. And I do that. I also meditate. I missed that, but I meditate maybe 10, 15 minutes a day. Anything more than that just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
But I get into the mind frame of who I want to be, the mom I want to be, the wife I want to be, the business owner, the coach that I want to be. So I can show up at my optimal level. And I mean, again, there's certain mornings where it really flows. And then there's other mornings where on the weekends, someone needs my attention and I'm like, just a minute, but
talking to God here, but I'll be right there.
Exactly. But I do those things. For me, journaling is so cathartic in my success, because no matter if I'm writing about something I'm grateful for, or if I'm just trying to self-explore and sort something out, I'm always activating my next level. And that's what I strive for in my personal development, to be inspired and ready to take action.
So activating your next level, that feels very powerful to me. And so how did you leverage then that personal development routine to become the woman who has a TV show, has multiple books, et cetera?
Yeah. I've been doing personal development every morning for probably 8 years now. And so it's just my normal. It's my new normal. My family knows it. Like it's people, guests come over, they know I'm doing my thing. But I use that to get clear on my intentions. So I believe in intentional living. I thought, okay, I know I'm called for great good. How can I reach the masses? How can I not make it about me, make it about the others, but how can I reach more people? Well, television is a fantastic platform. Social media is fantastic. Writing books is fantastic, and knowing how to market them as well. But I just made the decision. I always wanted to be an author. I've been writing poetry, literally saved my life when I was a little girl. So I've been writing since I was like, I think the first writing contest I won, I was like 6 or 7 years old. Yeah. And so it's always been a part of who I am, not just what I do. And I made the decision to go for it. So a lot of self-directed research. I invested over $100,000 in mentors, not including my university and college education. I'm always focused on how can I show up a little bit better, and just the intention. So with my TV show, I pitched a local network, didn't hear anything. A couple months went by, I pitched him again, didn't hear anything. I thought, well, I'm going to pitch him again. Within an hour, a producer called me and he said, this is incredible. Can we book a meeting? I went there, had my outline, the intention, the purpose of the show, how the viewers would benefit. We started recording season 1 about a month after that. And now I'm getting ready to record season 3. So.
Oh my gosh. And now, was it the same producer that you pitched 3 times and the third time he just finally heard you? Or did you take different approaches each time you pitched?
No, I actually, so this is the funny part. I went through the TV station's contact form.
Okay. Oh,
like this is how simple, like anyone listening that wants a TV show or wants, like, we don't have to overcomplicate it, right? We have to have the belief and we have to take action. That's all that we need to do. I pitched myself through the form about a show proposal. And when the producer, Justin, who I'm still very close friends with, he's no longer there. I have a different producer now, but he said he had just saw it pop up and he couldn't believe, it'd been overlooked, but who knows why it was overlooked. It just wasn't the right timing. And it was just incredible. And he was like, wow, I'm glad you kept at it. And I said, oh, I'm relentless in pursuit of my dreams.
I love that. And isn't that funny how you, like, to your point, we make it so complicated and we think, well, she can have a TV show, but not me. And did you go through any of that? Or were you just so like, no, I can have whatever? Was your mindset so rock solid that thought didn't even cross your mind?
Well, I have, because I do personal development every day, I build my confidence muscle, but I have several moments where I do things scared or where I'm like, who am I to be who do I think I am? That inner mean girl will be like, why do you think you should do this? And it's like, I don't know, God, you're telling me to do this. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny because I was doing a live this morning. You said you like Bob Proctor. So we're studying U squared every morning on my Instagram lives by Price Pritchett, and Bob and Price are like, buddies. Yes. So we were talking about when you make a quantum leap, part of your job is to get out of the way. Because I would imagine, like, I'm putting myself in your shoes and saying, if it were me and I had, a TV show, multiple books, there could be moments where you could look at it and wonder, like, wait, like, this is my life, right? Especially when
all the
that's not, when we
time.
didn't grow up around that. So how do you, so is there like a thing? I know you said, like, it's God working through me, but is there anything else you do when you feel that imposter syndrome or the, wow, is this really my life, to help you get back in alignment quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I've always got a coach in my pocket that I'm paying to
Mm.
support me, but my husband, I have to just give a shout out to my husband. We've been married 15 years this year, and he is just an incredible person for me. He gives me my reality checks. Sometimes I don't like it,
Yeah.
but I will go to him and I'll say, "Listen, I don't know why this resistance is coming up. I'm feeling like not like a fraud per se, but I do have to remind myself of who I am and whose I am. I am so well educated. I have helped thousands of people change their lives, both through trauma counseling and my success coaching. My books have been sold all over the world. Like, it seems like it's just not my life sometimes. And
Yeah.
what I had to do, and what I do is I literally will, talk to my husband and say, like, this is popping up again. And he's really good at helping me diffuse it quickly, because he's very much of the belief, of course I've achieved this. Like,
Mm.
I, I have this vision. Like, he's like, remember what you would tell someone else. Like, you have this vision for your life for a reason. It's not all rainbows and roses. There's moments where you doubt yourself. There's moments where people don't like your messaging or what you've said. You trigger them, but you have this calling, and who are you not to fulfill it? Like, it's just been,
Mm.
it's been amazing. And I have a good cry now and then. I mean, I cry both tears of gratitude of, I can't believe I just got this opportunity. And I have cries where I feel sorry for some of my family that they won't tap into the power of mindset. Sorry for outgrowing certain people that I thought would be in my life forever. And also sorry to myself. One of the things I'm really doing right now, Elyse, is asking myself, why do I cycle through those things? Like, no matter how good my life gets, it gets to keep getting better and better. Like, the women I'm working with now, going in their 7-figure years, like, but they're having impact.
Yes.
And they need me to lead by example, that it's normal to have the roller coaster and the imposter syndrome and the doubts. But what's not normal is to stop.
Ah,
Not for women like us. We don't stop.
mic
We
drop.
can't.
Yeah. That's so true, because once you're at that level where you have women who are or whoever your clients are, but you have clients who are looking to you for guidance. I love your realness, your ability to be real and say, look, this still happens at any level, because it does.
Mhm.
And then to say, my why is so powerful though that I won't stop. Right. Because there
Yeah.
can be a point where it's like, again, Bob talks about the terror barrier, right? Like,
Mhm.
the terror barrier. Oh my gosh. Like, there's a whole, like, people are looking. I remember my coach last year said something to me at some point about, what about the women who are magnetized to you on social media? And I remember when she said that, I thought, who's magnetized to me? Like, that was literally the thought. And then I thought, oh my gosh, that's a massive limiting belief. And then I started just acting as if I really believed that women were magnetized to me. And sure enough, business started growing really fast. And I think we have to see ourselves. It's like we have to get out of our way and see ourselves as we desire to, like, actually, as we often are. We just don't see ourselves that way. So I don't know if there's a point of that long dialogue, but it's just like, I love that you share that, because I think to know it doesn't stop as you continue to rise, but then to be able to, like, have someone to anchor you back in, or to ask yourself, like, why not me, is so powerful. So thank you for that. Anything else you would share with a woman who's kind of like struggling with self-image as she continues to rise in her accomplishments?
Yeah, I would literally, the last book I wrote was called Confessions of a Self-Care Junkie. And I shared all these confessions about myself. I broke down self-care in 6 different pillars. And I normalized that no matter how far we get or where we are in our journey, we're human. And that's where
Mhm.
that fierce feminine comes in, and honoring that. And I think our self-esteem is built in our self-care practices.
Mm.
When we show up for ourselves, even when we feel frustrated or why isn't it happening for me yet? It's happening for her. Or holy crap, I wanted this and now I don't know how to handle it, or wherever we are. Keep building the momentum of loving yourself and that worthiness that we can sometimes have many blocks around, and deservingness that affects our ability to receive, and trust that we deserve to receive, will unleash and will heal layer by layer, and just keep going. There is someone watching you. I firmly believe that we all have lurkers, and I say this with love, but we have people watching us that maybe think we have our lives perfectly together. We have great homes, great marriages, great bodies, great money, but they don't know that we're still a woman inside that has fears and insecurities and jealousies and things that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
Right. So keep going. Don't let the low self-esteem or the body image struggles or the lack of followers or whatever it might be for you derail you from your destiny.
Oh my gosh. That's so powerful. I feel like mic drop like multiple times throughout this conversation. Christy, I want to ask, so 2 final questions, and thank you so much, because this has been profoundly inspiring. So the first question for every single woman listening who's going to want to go connect with you, where can she find you? Where can she get more involved with your programs, find out about your books? Let's do that first.
Yeah, definitely Instagram is my favorite platform. I have all the links in my bio there, but I love inspiring and educating and empowering women through my Instagram stories and my feed. So that's the best place.
Okay. So, and is it at Christy Primmer?
It's at Christy_Primmer.
Yeah. _Primmer. Beautiful. And Primmer. And we'll link that in the show notes, but just for anybody who's listening and wants to go ahead and follow right now. Perfect. Christy_Primmer. And then Christy, final question for you. If you could offer just one piece of advice to a woman who's really ready to stop playing small and to finally break through that first 6 figures or beyond, what would it be?
Hire a mentor who's done it. And why I say that is because I have suffered and learned a lot of expensive lessons trying to figure it out on my own, because lots of different reasons. I didn't think I could afford a mentor. I didn't know if I was able to play at that level. Were like just all the things. And what I've learned in my success is when I hire someone and invest in myself, essentially investing in a mentor or coach, I'm getting myself 3, 4, 6, 10 feet ahead of the game. I only need to work with someone who's 1 or 2 steps ahead of me. I don't need someone who's built, not for me, myself anyway, I don't need someone who's 10 years ahead of me. I need someone who can relate to what I'm going through and can help me quickly get through it.
Yeah, that's a great perspective, because I think it makes it a little more accessible. And it also is like, okay, I need someone for the next step, and then I'll figure out the next step and then the next. But it's like right now, who's that person who's a couple of steps ahead of me who can help this thing that otherwise would take years, take a few months. So that's phenomenal. Christy, thank you for how you show up, for how you have let that, the persistent, right? The persistent part of you, keep showing up so that you could create this beautiful brand, this beautiful mission. You show up today and inspire us. And I know for me, I've really taken away just that persistence. And it's like, I'm going to keep going until it happens. Not, I'm going to try a little bit and then give up. It's like, no, I have a vision. We can have a vision in our mind, and that thing will become a reality if we proceed with persistence. And why not us, right? It's not why me, it's why not me. So thank you for everything you have shared today and your beautiful example of what it means to be the fierce feminine. So grateful for you.
Oh, thank you, Elyse, and everyone listening. Just go on with your bad self and become the version of you that you know you've been called to be. Thank you so much, Elyse.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Go on with your bad self. That is the perfect closing line for today. So everyone, go connect with Christy. Remember, she's at Christy_Primmer on Instagram. Check out her books, check out her program. She's a beautiful, beautiful role model for all of us women in business and leadership. And thank you so much for listening today. And I can't wait to see you next week with another episode of She Sells Radio. Bye for now.